Hey there, I'm Randy Baps from UXStars.com, and the moral of the story today is good UX means not having to convince a judge I am not a cat. There was a story in the news recently, and I just thought that this was a perfect story to discuss UX with your friends, families, and peers who may not entirely understand what it is that you do. If you haven't heard already, look up the hashtag LawyerCat. You'll find a very interesting video where a lawyer was logging in to attend a trial and he could not turn off his kitten filter. So everybody was seeing him as a little kitten. And normally I would say do not laugh at your users, take them seriously, and all that. But in this particular case, he has given us permission to laugh along with him. So there's that. So, in the world of UX, you want to think, who are our users? They're not all going to be the same. When I load the software for Dell Webcam Central behind this whole thing from, I think 2011 or earlier, this is the fella I see depicted potentially as a user up for maybe a goofy chat with somebody, right? But there's many different reasons these days why people might be doing some web conferencing. Students, teachers, doctors, priests, right? And so you have to try to think, who are the different types of users that I'm going to cater my software for? Right? Not only is it, the different types of professions that they may have, but is it new and experienced users? In this case, the lawyer had to use somebody else's computer. And so he was brand new at this software, seeing it for the first time. And, this is what happens when you're new to software and it's not as easy as it needs to be. All right, so how will people use your software, right? So, back in the day, perhaps it was a novelty to have some of these different filters on things right now, but there are a lot of reasons why people would want to look a bit more professional these days. And, you have to try to think of all the different situations in which somebody may be using the software and to do some research on your users in ways that perhaps aren't just, fun, goofy conversations anymore. All right. And, one of the biggest pitfalls in UX is assuming things about your users. In an ideal scenario, what you're going to do is give your users a task and then just sit back and watch and try to zip your lips and try to take note of everything that they're doing so you know that what really happens instead of just guessing. Okay, what are the stakes? This is video conferencing software. I did Google and I found that there was a case where this little kitten did get a fella in some trouble. He was he was doing a job interview, and yeah, he appeared as a cat. And since it had a technical nature to it, he felt that it was against him, that he couldn't even turn off his cat filter. Anyway, it's not the worst stakes. There are definitely cases where you have to really think, oh, geez, serious things could happen here, right? Self-driving vehicles, medical equipment, there's all kind of cases where the really critical things can happen, and you have to really take those seriously. All right. So, did you look at feedback and iterate? Now, nobody's perfect, right? Um, I Google this whole webcam thing being stuck, and I go to the Dell website and it's dating back to 2011, and people are complaining about things stuck at the cat right back then, right? So this whole thing was just up and coming for quite a while now. Now I know that not all software is going to always be able to have lots of updates. A company can't always pay to continually improve each and every bit of software over time, and so that's why it's important that you're doing some usability testing while you do have that funding with real users, trying to catch things as early as you can to take care of the big problems. All right, so Jacob Nielsen is famous in the world of UX for many things, including his 10 usability heuristics, which are sort of like rules or guidelines. They help us not just talk about if things are something we like or something that's simple or intuitive, and help us nail things down a bit more specifically. Okay, so one of his tenets is the visibility of system status. In this case, did the lawyer see right away that he had the filter on, right? Was it visible to him that this was going on? I don't know. All right, user control and freedom. All right, here we go. The definition from Jacob is users often perform actions by mistake. They need a clearly marked emergency exit. Okay, yeah, so I would have to think that the plain vanilla webcam experience is probably what a lot of folks would want. You could do some research on that, but why not start off simple? Like every time that you start the software, it could go ahead and say, do you want to leave the filter applied? And there would have been no problem whatsoever. Furthermore, on the screen, where is that exit sign? There should have been a really clear way to say, turn off this filter, just like very prominently instead of, going into another menu. All right, error prevention. Yeah, you can give people error messages. A lot of people might think of error messages in terms of, credit card declined or something like that. In this case, you could also consider the error being a filter being applied that you did not expect to be applied. Recognition rather than recall. Okay, so this is a case where you're saying somebody coming in for the first time, he was a brand new user and he had to get on a web conference, right? He couldn't recall anything from doing this before. He hadn't used this particular computer for a web conference, right? So there was nothing to recall. And so you want to try to see, how do users handle working with the software the first time they see it, right? That's different than like leaving them with it for a few days and then saying, oh, yay, how do you like it? Is it good? Trying to see what they first do with the software can be very enlightening. All right, help and documentation, everybody's favorite subject. Okay, so yeah, it's important to have some level of help, but put yourself in the lawyer's shoes here. Like if he is on a conference with some other folks and the version of help that he's getting here is going to be this help menu here that I was able to find in the software, where might he click? Oh, he might click on effects, and it's like, hey, effects, have fun with audio and video effects. It's just like, you have to try to think, okay, if there is a problem that I can't prevent entirely, and that is likely to happen, I need to try to steer people towards, solving that and trying to think, okay, what mode are they in? Can I give them some help that is, in that context? Surprise. So, I've told you a bit about UX here, but the biggest thing for you to remember is that users are full of surprises. We can assume things about them as much as we want to, but the only way to shake out some of those surprises is through doing some actual user testing, taking representative users, watching what they do, recording it, and iterating on our design until it is acceptable. So if you'd like to learn more, you can join us in a free uxstars.com book club session. We do them weekly. Find out more at uxstars.com. And if you need help improving your user experiences, just reach out to me at randy@uxstars.com. All right. Bye-bye now.